In the early morning chill of downtown Los Angeles, a pan layered with silence and hope sat in the hands of Maria Lisa Santiago. It was her last day. All around her, the kitchen buzzed with life. The line cooks chopped onions and garlic, the sous chef whispered in French, and then he walked in. The head chef, Jacques, hair gelled, apron pristine, and ego wrapped in a sarcastic smirk. He stared at her, then at the pan. "What's that smell? Is that vinegar?" "Yes, chef," Maria said, her voice trying to find its confidence. "It's chicken adobo, a slow-cooked dish from the Philippines. Soy, garlic, peppercorns, vinegar. I thought maybe we could add it as a fusion special." He cut her off with a laugh that ricocheted through the kitchen. Everyone stopped. Everyone heard. "Fusion? This is fine dining. We don't do that." "Whatever. Stew. This is Los Angeles, not Manila." Her hands tightened around the pan. The fragrant steam of garlic and peppercorn, her grandmother's recipe, was now a punchline. "But chef," Maria insisted, her eyes unwavering, "I had a few people from the line try it, and they loved—" "The only thing they love here is getting paid," he snapped. "Don't forget your place. You're a line cook, not a menu planner, not a chef." And that was it. That was the last word she needed to hear. The pan in her hand wasn't just a dish. It was her life. Everything she'd learned since she was 6 years old, stirring pots and batangas while her abuela told stories of family, home, and food that felt like a hug. So, Maria left. She took the pan, the recipe, and her dignity, and walked out, leaving the smell of butter and onions behind her. The tears didn't come until she was back in her tiny Koreatown studio, the cooling pan on her rental stove. No job, no backup plan, no savings, just a recipe the world told her it didn't want. "They said my food didn't belong," she whispered to the floor. "But they're wrong. I know they're wrong." With her knives packed, her grandmother's handwritten notebook in her bag, and a heart tougher than raw garlic, she made a choice. She wasn't staying in LA. She was going to France. Not for romance, not because she was rich, but because she saw a video that said, "If you want to be taken seriously as a chef, go to where food is a religion." So she went. One suitcase, $6,200 in cash, and a dream buried under 3 layers of insecurity. Paris was brutal. The cold wind felt like a personal attack on her Filipino warmth. She found a 6th-floor walk-up with cracked ceilings and worked 60-hour weeks in a low-end brasserie, chopping onions for minimum wage. And there, nobody cared about her adobo either. They'd ask her to cook something Filipino as a joke, then laugh when she brought out a dish they'd never heard of. "You eat chicken with vinegar? You put soy sauce in everything? Is that even real food?" But Maria didn't break. Instead, she started a supper club. She called it Cane Paris. Cooking out of her one-room apartment, she put up hand-painted cardboard signs in Tagalog. The first night, 3 guests showed up, all Filipino students. The second night, 5 guests came, including a curious French girl and a Nigerian couple. The third night, 11 guests, and among them was a food blogger. That's when everything changed. He filmed her. Not just the food, but her story. He asked her, "How do you feel when people say your food doesn't belong?" Maria looked up from her pot, her eyes glassy but her jaw set. "It always belonged," she said. "The world just didn't know yet." That was the clip that went viral. Headlines popped up everywhere. "Filipino food in Paris? This chef is changing the game." "Vinegar chicken. That made an entire room cry." "The most emotional supper club in France." People started messaging her. Not just Filipinos, but chefs, journalists, backpackers, and families from all over the world. The videos kept spreading. Then an email arrived. "Michelin review, anonymous submission. This adobo just rewired my soul." She thought it was a prank, until the call came. An inspector had eaten at her supper club. They wanted to talk. Her hands shook so hard she dropped her phone. Her knees buckled. This can't be happening. The very dish that was rejected in LA was now getting the attention of the world's most prestigious food guide. Michelin didn't give stars to supper clubs, but they did write full-page features on people who deserve them. 1 year later, after partnering with 2 Filipino friends to open a small food studio, the article dropped. The adobo Paris fell in love with, a culinary miracle from the Philippines. Maria had become a sensation, but the reality of it all didn't truly hit her until one night, standing in her packed 32-seat restaurant, where you had to book a table 2 months in advance. She heard a familiar voice. "You don't remember me, do you?" She turned. It was Jacques, the chef who had laughed her out of his kitchen, and he was holding a reservation ticket, table for 2. "Your name is everywhere," he said, his voice trembling. "New York Times, Eater, Bon Appetit. I had to see what I missed." Maria looked at him, her eyes calm, her voice steady. "You could have tasted adobo years ago, but you didn't." She served him personally, a bowl of piping hot, dark sauce chicken adobo, plated on a matte black ceramic dish. He took one bite, then another, and then a tear rolled down his cheek. He was silent for almost 5 minutes. Finally, he whispered, almost to himself, "I was wrong." Maria didn't gloat or smirk. She simply said, "Welcome to the table." That moment wasn't about revenge. It was about a profound realization. Food doesn't need permission. It just needs love and time. Today, Paris doesn't ask why adobo exists. They ask for seconds. People fly from all over the world to eat it. Chefs in France now study soy sauce and vinegar, calling it the future of balance. And that restaurant in LA? It struggled. The new owner reached out to Maria. "Would you guess, chef? We want to do an adobo feature week. Name your price." She paused, then replied, "I'll do it for free. But every plate must say this on the menu. This dish was once rejected here." It sold out in hours. The line wrapped around the block. Every bite was a story. Every plate was a quiet revolution. Every clean spoon was a silent apology written in flavor, not words. Maria never shouted, never begged to be accepted. She just cooked her truth. And eventually, the world learned to hunger for it. Because sometimes, the food they mock is the dish they'll one day travel oceans for. They said her food didn't belong. Now, they fly across the world just to taste it. Thank you so much for watching. If Maria's story moved you, don't forget to like this video. And subscribe for more stories of passion and perseverance. We'll see you in the next one.